Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Closer Look, the show dedicated to bringing you the facts. We ask the questions no one else will, and we get the answers that no one else can. I'm Arabina Apia, and tonight we're coming to you from Montague Beach just in time for the start of the annual Best of the Best Regatta. This year's event carries a renewed purpose. With sailing now officially declared the national sport, the theme bringing sailing back to regattas is more than just a slogan. It's a call to celebrate the sport, the craftsmanship, and the competition that make regattas an enduring symbol of Bahamian culture. Stay tuned, because over the next half hour, we're taking a closer look at how this iconic tradition is reclaiming its place at the heart of our national identity. A closer look begins right after this break, so stay tuned.
I always wanted to be a writer. I want to be famous.
I want to be technical and creative.
I always wanted to be in a band.
I want to be a movie director.
I always wanted to be a professional. Yeah!
I want to be creative. I want to do John Canoe all day. Should have been a dancer.
I want to be a star!
You soon can be at CAPAS, the Bahamas School for the Creative and Performing Arts.
Welcome back. You're watching A Closer Look. We're coming to you from Montague Beach for the start of the annual Best of the Best Regatta. And before we get started, I'm going to toss it to one of our correspondents, Preston Ferguson Jr., whom I know is on the ground and taking in the sights and sounds of this cultural staple. Preston, tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Thank you so much, Arabina. I'm here in the field, on site at the Best of the Best Regatta, and my stomach is growling, so please come with me down south here in Cat Island. What's your name and what stall do you represent today?
My name is Pauline Romo, and my stall name is Pauline's Kitchen, and I represent the island of Cat Island. We have from Conkin grits, pea soup and dumpling, lobster and rice, crab and rice, peas and rice, flour cake, cassava bread, potato bread, coconut tart, pineapple tart, and guava duck, all the way from beautiful Cat Island.
Now, for someone that's never been to a regatta before, what's some advice that you would give them?
They need to come on over to Cat Island Regatta in August and come to the Best of the Best Regatta. Trust me, it is the best of the best.
Now, Miss Pauline, if they're not here, and it should be a crime if they aren't, how can they keep up with Pauline's Kitchen, or where can they find Pauline's Kitchen?
They can simply call Pauline on 395-2139 or 361-5714, and I'm sure they will get what they want at Pauline's Kitchen.
Robs, you heard it here. You got Miss Pauline. Thank you so much. Now, my stomach is growling after that extensive menu, so I'm going to toss it back to you, Robs, and get me something to eat.
Thanks so much, Preston. Very exciting stuff. I'm excited already. Sailing is more than just a tradition. It's a skill, a craft, and for the next generation, it's an opportunity. Our April Sands explores how programs and initiatives are reconnecting young Bahamians with the sport of sailing. April?
Thank you so much, Arabina. We are on the grounds of Montague Beach, and in just a short few weeks, we are going to witness one of the most spectacular celebrations in Bahamian history. And if you guessed it, then you know it's 2024 Regatta. And guess what? It's going to be full of culture, competition, community, but most importantly, bringing together Bahamians everywhere. For decades, the Bahamas has been synonymous with white sandy beaches, crystal clear waters, and a thriving social scene. But this year, Regatta 2024 is about to take a bold new turn, focusing on what truly defines this island nation, sailing.
At this year's Best of the Best, we're launching a theme, putting sailing back into regattas. And along the site, you'll see the history of where we've come from winning an Olympic gold medal in sailing, to prior to that, to what it was to sloop sail to bring goods from one island to the other in the Family Islands, and to where we are now at the Champs of Sailing, how it is to build a boat, what it's the cost, what it means to be a sailor. So all of this we're integrating into this year's Best of the Best, so that persons who come, foreigners that come, local tourists that come to see what sailing is all about, how we've developed the sport, and now it's our national sport, how we will continue to ensure that we build upon the legacy of others.
And since sailing has been deemed the national sport of the country, Minister Sweeting has made it his mission to integrate the new sport into the educational curriculum. Sweeting revealed that his ministry has collaborated with the Ministry of Education to implement a boat building initiative.
Without the government support, it's going to be very difficult to move sloop sailing forward because it's very expensive, particularly when you take it out of New Providence. The transportation costs and all the ancillary costs involved. But, there is nothing. Junkanoo is a great culture, but Junkanoo doesn't drive domestic tourism. It doesn't send people out to the Family Island. It's all Nassau-based. Sloop sailing is countrywide.
And he's right. This year's regatta, like many others, will welcome sailors and persons from around the world. However, while the sport is beloved, it is in fact expensive to be a part of. And no one knows that better than boat builders like this former high school principal, Mr. Sheldon Gibson, who was the first person to introduce boat building into Bahamian schools.
I came up with the idea to try to see if we can get a boat built for the children in the school. And that's where I started. And I started a boat in Exuma, but I got transferred to Eleuthera. So I went to Eleuthera and I built one over there. So, that is where it started, really.
Gibson says he had a love for boat building since the age of 12, and he's pushing for more young persons to be a part of the newly deemed sport of the Bahamas. However, Gibson strongly believes that young persons will only take part in sailing if the country will generate more financial support.
A sailing scholarship anywhere in the world now, the people just asking to do that. Because the Olympics and all the other, high price sailing races they have all over the world. You get into that when we are surrounded by water, and we have no problem with getting out there to try to do something like that. But a lot of children, because they watch television, they probably want to go to basketball or something like that. But you have the water here, and I think it will do well. And we're trying to get it done. Well, up in Montague, where they have the Opties and all the other ones in there, they're making an effort to do it. I think we'll get there, though.
From the dedication of sailors, boat builders, and those working from behind the scenes, it's clear to see today that the spirit of regatta is alive and thriving. Reporting for A Closer Look, I'm April Sandsmith.
Thanks, April. Stay with us. A Closer Look will be back right after this.
This holiday season, the Ministry of Energy and Transport is bringing light back to Bahamian homes. Through our partnership with Bahamas Power and Light, we're offering the Merry and Bright Holiday Reconnection Program, so you can pay as little as 10% of your outstanding balance and get reconnected. Just in time for the holidays. Pay a little, light up a lot. The Ministry of Energy and Transport is committed to making sure no family is left in the dark this season.
Welcome back. You're watching A Closer Look. I'm Ravina Apia. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, then you've caught us in the middle of our regatta episode. This year's theme, bringing sailing back to regattas. But to understand where sailing is headed, you have to know where it's been. ACL correspondent Preston Ferguson Jr. tells us more. Preston?
Regattas have long been a cherished part of Bahamian culture, celebrating not just the thrill of competition, but the spirit of our islands. This year, a special exhibit at the Regatta site takes us on a journey through time, offering a deeper understanding on the history of sailing and boat building in the Bahamas.
If you really want to understand and appreciate why the Bahamas is where it is today, you must have knowledge of the boat builders and the role that they played, not only in their settlements, but in their islands and in the country at large. Without the boat builders, you've had settlements that have disappeared. You find that the settlements that had boat builders, they helped to grow the economy of the island, and by growing the economy of the island, they ensured that the island and the people continuously evolved. They were able to make a contribution thereby to the overall development of the Bahamas.
With a vast amount of history to learn from, we got a chance to hone in on the specific highlights the exhibit showcased at this year's regatta.
I think this is just the first step to show people how rich our history is in sailing, but also we wanted to highlight a little bit of boat building, and especially women in boat building. So we did a little homage to women in boat building, but this is only the first step. So the key topics that are in the exhibits, we talk about early sailing in the Bahamas, which is before regattas. Then we highlight the start of regattas, and then we move into international sailing and we tell the story of international sailing. But then we decide to tell the story about the future of sailing, which, I mean, it's hard to tell the story of the future, but there's just so much that's planned for the future.
This exhibit isn't just a walk through history. It's a celebration of a national legacy and an art form that continues to connect generations of Bahamians to their roots. As we honor the past, this exhibit serves as a reminder that regattas like this one continue to shape our national identity.
It's the cornerstone of our culture and an inspiration for the future of competitive sailing here in the Bahamas. Reporting for A Closer Look, I'm Preston Ferguson Jr.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it would not be a regatta episode if we didn't actually take you out on the water. And for that, we have our special regatta correspondent, Larissa, who is out on the waters on a boat. Larissa, tell us what it's like being out on the open sea.
From city life to salt life, I'm here sailing the seas at the Best of the Best Regatta. Under this year's theme, putting sailing back into regatta, we bask in the rich culture that comes with the thrill of competition that has been celebrated for years. However, with this art form holding a long historical significance, we got a closer look at what the future holds for sailing in the Bahamas.
There's just so much that's planned for the future. We have so many promising young people involved in sailing. Just today in the E-Class race, I think that was won by all junior sailors, if I'm not wrong. They beat a lot of the older sailors. So it shows that sailing has a bright future in the Bahamas.
We got a chance to speak with one of those rising stars from the junior sailors age group, Mr. Burrows, owner of the Woody K.
Came first yesterday and then came second today, so in contention to fight for the top spot on Sunday. The main goal is to make it to Sunday, so you have a chance at least winning, because it doesn't matter what you come in other races, it matters what you come in the very last race, it's the place you finish.
For those of us, like me, who are from the city, don't really know much about sailing, can you give us a little bit of the ins and outs?
Well, I mainly sail C-Class. I am fairly new to sloop sailing. I grew up in international sailing, so I've been all over the world sailing pretty much in different boats, different classes. But in this class, you got E-Class is the smallest, C-Class is next, then B-Class and A-Class. Hopefully after I'm in my first major regatta, I'll get more recognition and sail B and A class, but for right now I'm only sailing C class.
The history is rich and the future is bright for the world of sailing. And Mr. Clyde Roll, this year's race coordinator, is reaching back to ensure the youth is not left behind.
My job now is to try and train some of the youngsters to take over from me. Of course, it is a very expensive sport, but I tell you, a lot of people are getting into it. And of course, the younger kids now, I'm a little bit up in age now, but it makes me feel good to see that so many young people are getting involved in it. And the line is long. It's a long line, a long list to try to get into learning to sail right now.
As you can see, the competition is stiff, but the spirits are high. This is truly the best of the best regatta. Back to you, Rabs.
Thanks so much, Larissa. We have more show right after this. Stay tuned, ladies and gents.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckum, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckum, number 1 in pest control services.
Welcome back. You're watching A Closer Look. I'm Arabina Apia. Thanks so much for joining us. Behind every successful regatta is a vision and the people working tirelessly to make it a reality. Joining me now are the minister responsible, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, and Miss Cindy Gray, who is the Regatta Desk Unit Head. And they're here to talk about what it takes to bring sailing back to regattas and what this event means for the future of the sport in the country. Thanks so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you, Rabina.
So let's get right into it. This year, it's all about bringing sailing back to regattas. You know, regattas are usually a time for fellowship, entertainment, but there's been a specific thrust to bring sailing and shift the focus back to the actual sport. Why is that?
Well, first I would like to congratulate Ms. Cindy Gay and the Regatta Desk at the Department of Local Government for bringing the vision to reality. For the most part, when we think about regattas and festivals, and we think about the culture, the food, the on-site activities, and even though sailing is supposed to be the major thrust, what we did this regatta is to bring sailing back into regattas, and that means putting a lot of focus on the sailors, the boats, and also we have put together a small museum that speaks about the history of sailing. Where we are, where we want to go. Sailing is a national sport now, so we need to treat it as such and, you know, teach especially young persons who are in the E-class and trying to build up to get in those larger vessels what sailing is all about.
Absolutely. Now, Ms. Gay, I know that the sort of historical component with the museum and the exhibit is a specifically new thing that's happening. Why was that important for the Regatta Desk to really push and to bring in people so we can learn about the history of sailing?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Well, that is very important because if you don't know where you're going to go, you got to know your past if you want to build your future. And their minister said that was something that was dear to him, that he wanted people to know what it is and why we do what we do. So we tried to make it, give it our best shot. To start it off, it's a growing thing. We have got a good start this year, and I'm sure throughout the rest of the regattas of the year to come, you'll see more improvement as we learn more about our national sport and regatta and what it means to this society.
Okay, so give us an idea of what people can expect from this year's Best of the Best. We have a few days. I know that visitors and locals alike frequent this regatta. It's an event of the holiday season. So what can we all expect from these events this week?
Right, so you'll see a lot of entertainment. Tonight's opening night, you'll see different artists from all across the country here tonight. You'll see the sailors on the ground. You'll see persons from across the country. I think what's important about regattas is that you bring different cultures together. So you got persons from Long Island, people from Eleuthera, from Abaco, Grand Bahama, from New Providence, from Akron. So all walks of life come together at one location to celebrate sailing, to celebrate regattas. And what we've also done is we've also put an integration of technology here. So we worked along with Fidelity to do a payment system here. You'll also see where we've added some displays where you can see active score results in regards to the racing. So I think this is our first step to integration, to technology, and to give a different look and feel of what regattas are in the country.
Awesome. Well, I know, Ms. Gay, that's also something that was really important to the Regatta Desk. He's talking about the integration of technology because, you know, yes, we are an island nation and, you know, people like to come and enjoy the slowness and, you know, the sort of detachment that happens, but we're also a very modern society. So, you know, what can we look forward in terms of future focus for regattas in terms of the integration of technology, in terms of the integration of new concepts, things that are going to be happening to keep regattas fresh and at the forefront of the minds of Bahamians and locals and visitors?
Yeah, like you said, we're trying to bring everything up to date and speed. Technology is the key. As you can look around the grounds today, like Minister said, the persons here on the ground can get real-time information as those on Abaco, Eleuthera, or Grand Bahama. All they need to do is look at our webpage, and they'll be able to tell what position their favorite boat is as soon as we here on the ground know. So that's one thing we want to do, so people can always be up to date on what's going on. They might not be here in person, but we're going to try our best through the media to get that information and get the sport out there to the general public, because it is a national sport, and the more you know, the more you would appreciate why it is the national sport.
I know that when it became the national sport, some people were surprised. And I think that's why the historical element of this is very important, because sailing is a part of the national identity, really, right? I know that there has been a specific push to reach younger people and teach them the ways of sailing. What has the response been from both you guys' perspectives in terms of getting young people involved, in terms of getting the parents involved? Like, what has been the response so far?
So we've seen across the country other sailing schools pop up. So we have one in Spanish Wells now. You got Harbor Island. You got an academy in Savannah Sound. You got Exuma. You got Grand Bahama. You got Long Island, Abaco. So you have sailing. And also when you look at the E-class, at the National Family Island Regatta, we had over, I think, 32 E-class vessels. And the E-class vessel is the step between the Optis and the lasers to the A, B, and C class. So when you see a larger interest in those vessels, I think it shows you that younger people are getting involved. We have over 75 boats registered for this regatta. In Exuma we had, I think, close to 100. So I think nationally, I think that Bahamians on a whole have embraced the idea of sailing as a national sport, and even more than that, they've become involved in one way or another, whether it's their children, whether it's they're ensuring that they come to regattas to enjoy sailing, or whether they invest financially into these into the academies, or one way or another. But we have them in Nassau, we have 2 academies, so we're excited about where we're going.
Well, Ms. Gay, you'll have the final word, because, we all know the national regattas that happen on the various islands. What makes, in your opinion, what makes this best of the best regatta the most special regatta?
With this regatta, this is the close of the year, and this is where all of them come to get their bragging right. They have the biggest audience to sail for. Nassau, to come here to sail, to this crowd, this is when they put on their show. So this is what makes it different. The attendees, the participants who come out here to support our sailors, and this is where they want to put on their show. And that is one of the main thing that makes this one so special, the participation from the audience.
Now, Minister, when I asked that question, I heard you laugh. That means you think there's another regatta that is a little more special, or which is your favorite regatta?
No,
I
was just saying, you got people watching, so you got to be careful. People
it's hard to choose.
People very territorial.
It's hard to choose.
So if you choose, the people in Exuma can say theirs the best. Long Island can say so. But for me, I think all have a different element. All have a different special flair that makes it special to that island. So we enjoy all of them in a different way. We enjoy planning them in a different way. You have different persons involved. So I think it's just, you got to be careful which one's the favorite, I think.
I'm not trying to get either of you in trouble, I promise. I really am not. I guess my final question for both of you then is, right now, as we look to 2025, and we look to the future of regattas, and we look to what we hope to see in terms of the expansion of sailing and the sailing programs, what is the thing that you are looking most forward to in the new year?
I think for me would be a tall task, but we have started working on it. To create a national sailing school here in New Providence, to construct it, build out a facility that's not just region renowned but world renowned, where persons across not just the region but the globe can come and have their sailing, because this is one of the most nicest harbors in the world to have sailing activities. So for me, that would be at least to start the process, get the land allocated, start construction of the facility so that we can at least have somewhere where we can have proper training and all of that regional.
And Ms. Gay?
It's pretty much what Minister said, to develop it and get it out there to much of our youths as possible so they can learn more about sailing and developing our academy so boat, sloop, and international sailing can get the recognition they deserve.
Well, I want to thank you both for being here and for, giving us your insights. Almost getting yourselves in trouble, but I promise that was not the intention. But I want to thank you both for being here today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of the regatta for sure.
Going sailing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have more of a closer look right after this, so don't move a muscle. This is BDC Living, where we bring your indoor and outdoor living dreams to life. And as the holidays roll in, you can give the gift of BDC with our selection of festive home decor, trinkets, and treasures to make your holidays even more festive. Visit any of our BDC Living locations today and let your dream decor journey begin with us. This year's Best of the Best Regatta isn't just about preserving tradition, it's about breathing new life into it. This year's theme, Bringing Back Sailing to Regattas, is a commitment to keeping this living tradition dynamic and meaningful. Traditions thrive because we adapt them, because we make space for them to grow and to evolve along with us. This event is proof that when we honor the past while moving forward, we can build something that lasts for generations to come. Before we go, we're leaving you with the sights and sounds of Regatta 2024. Good night, everyone.
And this year's theme, Putting Sailing Back into Regatta, reaffirms our commitment to sailing and celebrates the vibrant spirit of Bahamian culture. Because my ministry is dedicated to advancing sloop sailing and elevating Bahamian sailing on the international stage.
The crowd is very pleasant. You come around and you could have camaraderie with all those who attend the regatta. The best of the best regatta serves all the persons that here and all that comes to visit.
They have something for everyone, especially the food.
Working and keep working, that's what matters. It's determination and grit, and you'll eventually just rise to the top, and that's what matters.
The government is absolutely committed to continuing to do all that it can to support the sailing clubs all across the islands and the young people who've embraced sailing as our national sport. So the best of the best has been the best of the best.